You are now watching the Queen Chioma.
Yep, 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 yep.
So hey guys, I'm back with another video. So tonight's video is yet again another Chioma Chats video podcast edition. So by the title, we're going to be talking about Deyjah Harris and her comments towards her having 4C hair and her disliking the fact that it does not quote unquote fit her. So this story went viral because of course we are in an era where if you speak on blackness in any form, black skin, black features, black people as a whole, it's going to make some form of news. And because there are so many black people, predominantly black women, who have been rallying behind the fact that we should be uplifting, supporting, and championing blackness, this did cause a lot of discussion on social media. And I did want to note that I am very proud of how much the narrative has changed about blackness over the last few years. Growing up as a brown-skinned black girl, it's really hard to feel pretty or wanted or desirable when the imagery around you doesn't portray that. And that's in so many industries. The beauty industry, entertainment, pretty much everything. I know a lot of times we speak on how black features are not recognized or praised, or how black women are not equally promoted or given opportunities in many industries. But if you really look around, within the last 2 years, the number has increased tremendously. I feel like we are at a point where if I go to Sephora, I see my shade and foundation, and I also see women that look like me on the posters in the store. Or if I go watch a movie, there are several characters and actors that look similar to me. Or if I'm looking in a magazine that has to deal with fashion, a lot of the models do look like me. So I feel like we've made positive progress and we should commend that. There's a sector of black women who don't seem to ever acknowledge that progress, but I feel like the progress is being made and we are on the right track. But I digress. So Deyjah took to her Twitter and voiced her dislike for having 4C hair and inheriting that from her dad. Now I know T.I., which is her father and a rapper from ATL, keeps a low cut, but when he does grow his hair out, he definitely has 4D hair. So Deyjah definitely inherited her dad's hair texture, and she tweeted the following sentiments. Deyjah said, "I hate to say / admit it, but I'm so sad that I have my dad's hair texture. Sad because it's so much to deal with / manage. Sad because I feel like it just doesn't fit me, nor is this texture one as appreciated or uplifted as much as other hair textures." She then states in a second tweet and says, "Anytime I see someone with type 4 hair, I always compliment them because I know how it feels to genuinely not like your hair / texture. I never want anyone to feel like that. It looks so bomb on other people, but me, yeah, no." And I've always liked Deyjah. I feel like she's one of the most level-headed, unproblematic, and mature celebrity kids that we have. I do feel like she should be promoted more to teens and young adults, but her personality being more reserved and introverted, as well as the fact that teens and young adults don't really take a liking to people like Deyjah because she's not problematic, is the reason why she just peacefully lives her life away from the media most of the time. To me, her comments about her hair are nothing shy of what many of us with type 4 hair, especially those with 4C hair, have stated before at some point. And I think it's interesting to see how the internet responded to this. So I've broken my video down into 3 main talking points, so let's get right into this video. So point number 1 is 4C hair has historically been disrespected. Now I know that some people are going to take Deyjah's words as disrespect towards 4C hair, but I personally did not take it that way. She never once put down the hair texture. She never said it was ugly. She never said that it was undesirable to her, but she merely made a statement that has historically and in certain cases continuously been said. Now it is unfortunate that she said that she is quote unquote sad to have her dad's hair texture, but I feel like she feels that way because her circumstances are similar to many of us young women and girls who have said similar things about type 4 hair growing up. She hasn't reached the point of acceptance and probably hasn't felt comfortable having conversations about her physical insecurities as it relates to her blackness because of the environment she has grown up in. Historically, and I'm not even talking about slave days or even back in the 80s or 90s, I'm talking the early 2000s and 2010s. It was like if you didn't have silky hair or a loose curl or anything that wasn't type 1 or type 2 hair, your hair was not deemed pretty. I feel like it's still pretty recent that people like type 3 hair because I remember being in elementary and middle school and having straight hair was all the rave, like even for the white girls. There is this historical notion that 4C hair is ugly and undesirable, and of course we can point fingers at non-black people and particularly white people who have made black people feel inferior about their hair texture, but I can only blame them so much. Black people have continued to reinforce this notion that type 4 hair is ugly and undesirable. I remember I tweeted the other day about how people say that they love / want foreign girls unless they're African, and it stands true because anything that is deemed Afrocentric has historically been seen as a no. It wasn't until the last few years where type 4 hair has received recognition, acceptance, and embracement. Of course, the natural hair community and the natural hair movement has been around for a while, but the numbers of membership for the men and women who make it an effort to solely embrace natural hair was way smaller than it is now. Nowadays, we see more natural hair textures being shown, as well as natural hairstyles such as braids, twists, bantu knots, feed-in, knotless, and box braids and locks. So even if you look at a lot of the mainstream rappers, a lot of them have locked their hair or grown their natural hair and wear them in individual twists or braids. Look at Lil Baby or Moneybagg Yo or a lot of these guys that have locks. It's a trend now for people to embrace their natural hair, and even though it shouldn't be a trend but a lifestyle, we are now to the point where it's at the very least acceptable in a legal standpoint as well as acceptable in a social standpoint. And by legal standpoint, I mean California did pass the Crown Act, which bans hair discrimination of natural hairstyles and textures when hiring employees seeking employment. And by social standpoint, I mean if I walk into class or work with a natural hair puff, more than likely now other black kids are not going to clown me for wearing my natural hair like they did when I was in the 4th grade. So I'm really proud of black people for changing the narrative and making black be the standard, not just in the mix of non-black people, but as black people, because it does start with us. We can point the finger to the top of the Caucasus Mountains, but if black people further perpetuate disparities about hair texture, that doesn't make us any better than the oppressors who have historically spoken down on natural hair. And if you ask me, growing up in a school with white kids, the white kids usually never made fun of my hair. It was usually other black kids. So I'm happy that we're fixing the historical context of the connotation of natural hair, because in the long run, it's going to serve as a benefit for both black on black relations and black people's relations with other non-black people as well. Now, point number 2 is 4C hair doesn't fit Deyjah. So there was some conversation about what was meant by this comment, and there were people who said that she said this because she's light-skinned, and that oftentimes in the black community, light-skinned women don't possess tightly coiled hair such as 4C hair texture. And I think it's fair to state that even though that's false, I do believe the black community does equate light skin to looser hair textures, especially with women. It's almost seen as an oxymoron for a light-skinned girl to have deeply coiled type 4 hair in particular. Now, Deyjah did not state that herself, and if she would have said, I'm light-skinned and I should have looser textured hair, then I think those comments would be worth alleging and dragging her for. But that's not what she said, and I think it's fair to imply that that could have been what she meant, but I don't think that she's that stupid or daft to make such a false and bogus statement. I do believe that she has grown up around other light-skinned women. Her older half-sister Zanique, as well as her stepmother Tiny, as well as her mother, all have textures that are not type 4 and are considered loosely textured and, in a sense, fit their stereotype of being light-skinned. Furthermore, she is the only girl in her family that doesn't have a non-black mother, so the emphasis or spotlight on her hair texture is probably a fight that she's been in all alone. Her 2 other brothers, Messiah and Damani, share the same father as her but different mothers who still happen to be black women. But in the black community, it doesn't really matter what hair texture a man has. He's never going to be belittled or disrespected for his hair texture the way how a black woman would. I think she says that her hair texture doesn't fit her because the examples that she has of other women in her family do not have 4C hair. So growing up and being told that your hair is undesirable or ugly or not as good as another texture has definitely weighed on her. And this is a common thing for many black girls, regardless of their skin tone, light or dark. So when you're growing up with majority brothers and your only sister has a biracial mom with different features and hair textures than you do, she probably felt as if she didn't fit in and that her hair didn't fit her. I remember watching Deyjah on T.I. and Tiny Family Hustle, and her hair would always be in like micro braids or other braided styles, and we never really got to see her natural hair at all. And I feel as though she has felt ostracized for many reasons because obviously her father is a bigoted and sexist individual, but even further, being a young woman is very hard when it comes to the physical components dealing with beauty. So all in all, there is no quote-unquote perfect fit for 4C hair. It can occur in lighter toned or darker toned individuals, and as black people, we have to stop being so honestly stupid to think that tightly coiled, kinky hair that is on the higher spectrum of type 4 hair is only for darker skinned individuals. You'd be surprised how many dark skinned girls that I know that have type 4A hair. And growing up, I always thought I had 4C, 4D hair, hell, even 4Z, until I realized my hair is a little bit loosely textured. And I truly think I have 4A, B, and C in my head, and that is very possible. There is no fit for a hair type or texture. And I kind of cringed when I read that part of the tweet because it's like the faster we alleviate people thinking there's a correlation to skin tone and hair texture, the faster we will realize that anyone can possess any hair texture in the black communities everywhere. Now, point number 3 is, what is the solution? So when I do these types of topics, I always like to give a solution because I am one that has been picked apart, disrespected, bullied, and ostracized because of my hair texture. I single-handedly know what it feels like to feel that your hair is less than or ugly or not socially acceptable because of the hair texture that you have no control of. From dating partners to oppressors to other black people, I've gotten backlash from a bunch of different individuals because of my hair texture. And I think the solution is many things. One being the implementation of this type of beauty. I don't think that it's fair that there's a sector of black women or people that think that the only way a black black woman should be shown is with her natural hair, little to no makeup, this Afrocentric vibe, this black power uniform per se, because not every black woman is going to choose that or even represent that naturally. But I do think that when you diversify the imagery amongst other examples of black beauty, you begin to see it normalized and people begin to feel that they are being accepted and confident in their natural beauty. And I said it earlier, I do believe that is happening, and many young girls and teenagers and young adults are seeing themselves normalized in advertisement. Another solution would be education of what black people have historically decided to be ignorant towards, and that is the correlation of hair texture and skin tone. I wish there was little to no self-hating black people, and to me, self-hate does not mean you cover your hair with a wig or weave. That's not self-hate. Self-hate is actually putting down what is naturally growing out of you. And just because you wear a wig or weave does not mean that you hate your hair texture. Sometimes a lot of y'all think that wearing a wig or weave means that you hate your hair, and I don't think that's the case. If you can find some form of happy medium in embracing both, I see nothing wrong with that. But when you blatantly put down your natural hair and refer to it in disgust, that's why we have so many ignorant individuals who continue to be miseducated. This idea of quote-unquote good hair has to go and has been going, but we're in the turnover stage as black people. We're turning over a new leaf to correct the behavior and mindsets that we've had about our natural black features for the past few decades. I think with corrective education and diverse examples of black beauty, this idea of 4C hair not being pretty would slowly go away. Of course, you're always going to have the Uncle Tom and ignorant black people who still have something to say about it, but those people are going nowhere fast, honestly. I think Deyjah would benefit from realizing that 4C hair can be very difficult to take care of, and there is a lot of hardship during one's natural hair journey, and this includes tangible and intangible things such as what products to put in your hair and what devices to use with your hair, all the way up to just accepting your hair and embracing it. And I think it just starts with accepting yourself as is, which is obviously easier said than done, and then you could begin to work from there. I feel like there are so many girls that have been where Deyjah has been, and a lot of you would be dishonest to say that you've always liked your type 4 hair. So I wish the best in her finding her happy medium between what society expects and wants and likes versus what she as an individual expects and wants and likes, because it is tough. Some girls are double whammy, dark skin with 4C hair, and have been battling and being belittled for it all their life. But I am happy to see that there's change being made, that the diverse forms and examples of black beauty is being perpetuated in so many different ways. So that is it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know your commentary down below on my commentary in the comment section. You guys, I told y'all that Instagram just took my account. They really got me, okay? So please, if you guys don't mind, follow my new account. It's on the screen. The first line, go follow it. Don't forget to follow me on all of my other social media networks, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.
PUA money ran out, now your ass on the drop, close your mouth, don't say no. Owing me $200, these niggas be broke, it's the truth, let me tell ya. Smoking them roaches, doing nothing all day, laying down on the couch, he a bad boy. If he does not make me feel like a queen, going ghost on his ass, Danny Phantom. I'm the type to work on all goddamn day, get a check, lay in the tub like I'm Reverend. I am a queen, 2 college degrees, man, women like me, we are seldom. And I thought a girl who was trying to be me, but had feminist bleak has said some. I'm telling you, girl, just stay right in your place before I relocate you to Belgium. And money bag, yo, thought a broke nigga said some, but broke niggas can't talk, so he ain't hearing them. I know a bitch who I heard got that itch. She make niggas sick when they get a whip.